It was well past midnight when Mark Davis, a single father and night janitor at Thompson Industries, mopped the last stretch of marble floor in the massive corporate lobby. The air carried a faint scent of lemon cleaner and burned coffee. Another long night almost over. All he could think about was getting home in time to tuck his 8-year-old daughter, Emily, into bed. But just as he was finishing, hurried footsteps echoed down the empty hallway. Sharp, uneven, desperate. Mark looked up and froze. It was Claire Thompson, the company's CEO, usually poised like royalty, confident, calm, untouchable. But tonight, she looked terrified. Her blazer was unbuttoned, her lipstick slightly smeared, her eyes darting over her shoulder as she whispered, "Please, pretend you're kissing me just for 7 minutes." Mark nearly dropped his mop. "Excuse me?" he stammered. She grabbed his sleeve. "Someone's following me," she breathed. "Please, just act like we're together." Hey everyone. Welcome back to Kind Heart Chronicles, where real stories remind us that kindness can change lives. If you love emotional stories that restore your faith in humanity, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's dive into this unforgettable moment of courage and compassion. Mark didn't know what to do at first. Then, from behind Claire, the elevator opened, and out stepped a furious-looking man in a tailored suit. "Claire!" he shouted. "We are not finished talking." She flinched and clung tighter to Mark's arm. Something in her trembling eyes lit a spark in him. Mark straightened, wrapped an arm gently around her shoulders, and said loudly, "There you are, honey. You're late." I was starting to worry. The man stopped in his tracks, glaring. "And who the hell are you?" he barked. Mark met his gaze, steady and firm. "Her boyfriend," he replied. "And if you've got something to say, it can wait until tomorrow." The man's jaw tightened, but after a tense moment, he turned and stormed out of the building. When the glass doors finally shut, Claire exhaled shackily. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea what you just saved me from." Mark smiled faintly. "Just doing what anyone decent would do, ma'am." Claire laughed weakly, a sound that seemed to break the tension around them. "Those 7 minutes made me feel safe again." Later, as Mark clocked out, he found Claire waiting near the exit. "Can I walk you to your car?" she asked softly. He blinked. "You? Walk me?" She smiled. "It's the least I can do." As they crossed the quiet parking lot, Claire finally said, "He's my ex, a major investor. When I ended things, he didn't take it well." Mark frowned. "That's not okay. You should call the police." "I did," she said. "They're handling it now. But thank you for stepping in without even knowing me." Mark shrugged. "My daughter always says, 'Be kind first, think later.' Guess she's right." Claire smiled. "She sounds like a wise little girl." Over the next few weeks, Claire began to notice Mark more often, not just as a janitor, but as a man who made everyone's day a little easier. If someone spilled coffee, he was there in seconds. If the receptionist's car died in the rain, he was the one holding jumper cables. He never asked for thanks, only smiled and went back to work. One afternoon, Claire saw him in the break room, reading from a battered children's book. "That for your daughter?" she asked. He nodded. "She loves when I read to her. Even if it's just over video, she stays with my sister while I work nights." Something in Claire softened. Somewhere between board meetings and business deals, she'd forgotten what sincerity looked like. A week later, she called Mark into her office. He arrived nervously, cap in hand. "Did I do something wrong?" he asked. Claire smiled. "Quite the opposite. You've done everything right." She gestured toward a folder on her desk. "There's an opening for a maintenance supervisor. Better pay, better hours. HR agrees. You've already been doing the job without the title." Mark's eyes went wide. "Me? A supervisor?" She nodded. "Say yes." Tears filled his eyes as he whispered, "Yes, ma'am." Months passed, and Mark's life transformed. Emily started at a better school, and for the first time, he was home for dinner. They laughed, read stories, and watched sunsets together. Simple joys money could never buy. Claire, too, changed. That night had taught her something powerful, that true strength doesn't come from power or wealth, but from kindness. She often visited Mark and Emily, sometimes with gifts, sometimes just stories. Emily called her Aunt Claire. Their friendship grew, not through status, but through heart. Nearly a year later, Claire hosted a company charity gala. The ballroom shimmered with golden light and laughter. When she took the stage, her eyes found Mark in the crowd. "Tonight," she said, "we celebrate success. But real success isn't power, it's compassion." She paused, smiling at Mark. "I once met someone who reminded me of that. Because of his kindness, I'm standing here today, safe, stronger, and grateful." Applause filled the room as Claire invited Mark on stage. He blushed furiously, shaking his head, but she insisted. When he reached her side, she leaned close and whispered. 7 minutes changed everything. Then she announced a new company initiative, a scholarship for single parents, named the Emily Foundation. The crowd rose in applause as Mark wiped away tears. After the event, Claire found him standing outside in the soft rain, staring at the city lights. "You okay?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "I never thought helping someone for 7 minutes could change my life." Claire nodded. "That's the thing about kindness. It doesn't stop when the moment ends. It keeps echoing." Mark chuckled softly. "You know, my daughter once asked me why people are kind. I didn't know then, but now I think I do." "What's that?" Claire asked. He looked at her with a gentle smile. "Because kindness makes the world feel like home." From that night on, both their lives changed, not because of money or status, but because of 7 minutes of courage and compassion. So remember this. Sometimes life gives you only a few minutes to make a difference. Take them, because one small act of kindness can echo forever.